Hello and welcome back. In this session, we will be talking about test groupings and reusability. In every application, we have multiple modules or different scenarios. In every use case, the login and the logout is very common. For example, in an e-commerce website, a user wants to verify the homepage, maybe update user profile, add items to cart, check out. The user has to log in, perform these scenarios, and log out. So for each time a user wants to verify the home page, the user would have to log in. For each time a user wants to add items to cart or and check out, the user has to log in. And for each time a user wants to update user profile, the user has to log in. You can see how this is common. So in this tutorial, we will create a login flow and perform other scenarios and call in this login flow within these scenarios. So we're going to log in, verify our home page, and then we're going to perform another scenario of add items to cart and checkout. So let's dive right into it. So first thing would go to tests. We've already created this folder called test reusability. So this is where we're going to put in all of our tests. I'll click on create test. So for this, I would call this verify home page, and I'll impute my URL, which is sourcedemo.com, and I would click on record. So here I would just go ahead and impute the username and password, standard user for password, and I would log in. So once I'm logged in, I want to verify the home page to verify that I'm on this home page. So I'll use my assertion feature. I would click here and I would use the element. So I want to assert that I am logged into source demo swag labs. So I think we have this on the login page. So I would just use products. I would click on products and we have element should be visible. I'll save my assertions. And once I'm done saving that, I will log out and stop my recording. So one of the things I want to do first is to look at the login flow. So rather than creating a separate login flow, I can just go ahead and group in all the test steps that contains the login flow. We have the click username, we have type username, we have click password, type password, and login. So once I've marked this step, what I will just do is these three dots here, click on it, and I will add the new group. So what do I call this group? I will call this my group login. So this is source demo login, and I have this my button toggled on is reusable. So I would create group. You can see all my login steps are inside of this folder called login, and you can see that we have five steps which are reusable. So I will save this. So once it's done saving, the next thing I would do is to add items to cart. I would have to create another test. I would go to my test reusability and I would click on new test and I would name my test. I'll call my test add items to cart. I will input the URL and click on record. So I'm here. I would just input the username, password. Okay, I think our username is wrong. So I would just go right again. Secrets underscore source login. And yeah, we're logged in. So I want to add items to cart. I will just add this item to cart, add this item to cart, and this. We already have these three items saved in our cart. We can check the cart to see it is being saved in our cart, and we check out. Input our name, and continue. And we have this as finish. So I would just stop my recording since I'm done with that. So I would save this. Once this is being saved successfully, we have our grouping somewhere, our login grouping somewhere. So there isn't any need for us to start logging in again. So I would mark all of the test steps that contains our login here manually. And I will delete selected steps. Yeah, so now we have straight from the URL, you can see from step one, you have the URL straight into add cart, which is the home page without the login. So if we should try this, it is going to fail because there is a series of steps are missing. The login, you cannot just jump in from opening an e-commerce website without logging in and start adding items to cart. So let's just run it, and you see the failure. Would run it, and it's requesting for us to log in. And remember, we have these our login steps missing in this test. And there you go, elements not found. So we'll close this and to reuse our grouping, we'll just click on this particular test step, and then we use this drop down and we insert a group before that step. We have our login here. We click on login, and here we go. Our login is being inserted before that group. So it's going to be easier for us this time around. If we want to run our test, I'll just save this, and I'll click on run. So as you can see, our test is being executed, and the group we already had before had played. So since we're done with this and Scandium is done playing with this, we can go back to our test step, and we see that everything has passed. So that is how you can use or reuse grouping a set of test steps and reuse the test step across multiple scenarios.